they were probably not expecting to drop down quite so early. It's been rough for DC. I think they look like they were really picking up a lot of steam all the way through sort of qualifiers and everything else, and they'd be slowing down a little bit now. I know they've been playing a ton of tournaments recently. I think they've been traveling and playing non-stop for quite some time now. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of a fatigue aspect to it as well. But yeah, neither of these two teams wants to be in this position right now. So very important.
Yeah, well, I think that probably you can feel at least somewhat comfortable that it's a best of 3 here. It's not like we saw in the majors previously where you drop down to the lower bracket and you have to play out in best of 1. So we'll see if they end up being able to do well with it. But Terrorblade and the Shadow Demon combination, this is something that we saw a lot in the previous couple of days. You get all of a sudden just a ridiculous amount of illusions that come out from Terrorblade, and it's kind of an interesting combination. Also seen Shadow Demon be pretty effective at early finding kills by blocking somebody in with all of the illusions and then just right-clicking them to death. But it's cool to see him come back into the meta a little bit, and Batrider is going to be the response from DC as well.
Yeah, Shadow Demon used to also be considered somewhat decent against Darkseer as well in lane, just insofar as you can pressure him, and then when he goes to Surge, you have a long duration disable and disruption to be able to waste the registration and be able to get something done there. I think the other little bit of extra value that they might be getting here is that if the Darkseer and the Axe are looking to pressure the safe lane, they can essentially just disrupt the Axe and clear the creep wave right back the opposite direction with the Axe illusion, so that's also pretty neat. But I'm right there with you, man. I'm glad to see some Shadow Demon getting some play. He's been forgotten for the longest time now.
Yeah, I know, really. It's something where he still didn't really end up getting a ton changed about his kits, but just slowly over time getting those buffs to the disruption. And now we end up seeing part of the reason why they might be going for it. This is like the classic combo. I would imagine it's still going to be Mirana in the mid lane, but still very dangerous getting the disruption into arrow combo.
Yeah, and they've got a bunch of other little combos in here as well, right? They can potentially get the sleep into an arrow as well. Even Shadow Demon and Elder Titan work really nicely together. You can disrupt the setup for an Earth Splitter. Potentially, if you get the Soul Catcher on top of that, that's almost a hero just eliminated instantly. So definitely a lot to look out for here if you're DC. But I really like DC's lineup right now. They've got 2 amazing targets for Iron Shell in the Axe and the Batrider, and I feel like they're just going to be able to Empire in the early stages, and they still haven't really solved any of the, they haven't really solved that problem yet with their lineup. The Mirana, sure, she has a leap, she has a save for herself, but they don't really have anybody to frontline right now, and it's pretty much just the ET for any semblance of control, which would make life a little bit hard.
Yeah, it's something that's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously you have like a defensive disruption or something for a Batrider trying to find a kill, but that's sort of predicated on Shadow Demon being in a position where he can make that play. And it feels like oftentimes like Terrorblade is going to be the one that's there front and center trying to break down the towers with all those illusions, and it could make him pretty easy pickings for the Batrider, but I don't really see a way for them to solve that at this point, honestly. Because I would imagine that it's going to be ET and Shadow Demon that are those supporting combos. So you can't really. I mean, there's not would it be an offlaner then who has to maybe a counter initiating tie or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, I would suggest the Void, but he was already banned out first phase by DC. I think he could have worked decently for Empire here, but yeah, a little bit of AoE control would not go amiss at all. I think the Tide could certainly work. And DC gonna grab the Morph. We've been seeing a lot more of this hero.
We really have. The thing that I kind of worry about is that we've been seeing Morphling usually picked after that team takes the Elder Titan himself, just because of that natural order and how devastating that is. So a really bold move here, particularly considering that like Mirana is that ridiculous single target DPS with an Ag's Nest. So if ET takes away all his magic resistance and also he doesn't have any armor, like I'm a little bit concerned that he might become food.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the idea with the Morphling here is. I mean, of course, Morphling is decent against illusion-based heroes like Terrorblade, since you can always just make an illusion of him with your ultimate and then kind of get some value out of that. But I feel like there has to be something else here that they're aiming at.
I wonder
Morphling is interestingly not an awful
10
Ion Shell
seconds
candidate
remaining.
either if he wants to get involved early on. He's pretty low range, so you can sort of end up in the
Radiant
middle of
team
team fights and still do something with that. But I guess it's just a comfortable carry pick, probably more than anything.
I'm wondering if it's going to be that patented Morphling support that we saw recently.
Oh,
I
right.
feel like that's probably not going to happen.
10
It does
seconds
seem a little bit odd to take that hero into a lineup that already kind of does well against him. But yeah, the illusion thing, I guess that makes sense too. I don't know. That feels like it's a losing play to try and play Morphling support, although.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see the support. It's actually going to be interesting to see how the role priority works out here. I guess it's something like Darkseer offlane, Darter mid, Morphling safe lane, Axe is the position 4, and then they just need their hard 5 here. The Winter Wyvern got banned out, I think, for good reason. With the Darkseer and the Axe already picked up, we've seen Complexity show off exactly what you can do with the Winter Wyvern and Axe as a combo, and Darkseer and Winter Wyvern, people have been doing that pretty much since day 1, so... Natural ban, and DC just have to grab themselves a lion here, which is also good. Now they have even more ways to destroy TB illusions and Shadow Demon illusions, and even Moran illusions, maybe even later on in the game, potentially.
I like it, definitely. And it seems like it's
5
kind of a well-rounded
seconds
draft around trying to get that Morphling to a super late game scenario, and then just obviously use the Batrider for pickoffs with the, boots of travel heading out all across the map. And they've got decent ways to keep those creep waves pushed out. So I like what they're doing. It definitely feels like Team Empire's style is that, like, group up, take objectives. Maybe they got is Slardar already banned here? That wouldn't be a terrible hero for them. That dire side advantage, being able to take Roshan.
Yeah, I don't think Slaughter would be bad at all.
Oh,
called
hey.
it exactly. Nice. So one other thing I think to talk about for the Morphling.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the ways that they can go about it. And I think also that the early game here for Empire, I kind of like it a little bit more than what's going to be coming out from Digital Chaos. So maybe if they can start snowballing early, we've got, like you're talking about, that Axe pickup, and might end up being a little bit greedy. There's ways definitely that Empire are going to be able to take advantage of this, but I would be a little bit concerned as we get a little bit of lag right off the bat. I'm sure they're up, don't worry. I'm wondering if DC don't end up getting away with these laning stage if Empire just kind of snowballs from there. That's what I'd be concerned about.
I'd really like to see DC actually pressure the lanes, because like I talked about early in the draft, I still feel like this Terrorblade, Elder Titan, Shadow Demon is a little bit of a weak lane overall. So I'd very much like to see Saxa on the Axe actually just kind of maybe pick up level 2 or level 3 from the jungle eventually, and then just go and join up with Mu, throw some Ion Shells around, and just look to pressure the Terrorblade's farm and don't let him get off to a good start. Because I'm with you, I think if Empire get off to a good start and they get this Terrorblade and Mirana really rolling, then that's where DC could actually be in a little bit of trouble this game.
Well, time will tell. We will see. DC versus Empire elimination matchup. Winner has to go home. Certainly, you do not want to be the very first team eliminated from a tournament ever. I would really, really be disappointed for either of these squads. Granted, there's a lot of good teams in it as well, so that's something else to be concerned about. But it looks like they're just going to be trading off these runes. I would imagine We takes this one. No problem. Oh, they can move in. Affleck is not going to be able to. The sun comes out, they steal the rune, and now he's going to take a couple little hits on the backside as he heads over into the lane.
Yeah. So this is the battle of the last Western hopes for this tournament, right? With everybody else dropping out.
That is true.
Yeah, this tournament got weird quick. I remember looking at it a couple of weeks ago. I was like, Fnatic Secret EG, nice, and then well, that didn't end up panning out.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a different one, and I still think that the teams that are in it are really high quality. You take a look at a lot of these Chinese teams, and they're still incredibly powerful. Ramsey's already popping the Metamorphosis and trying to kill off those Ion Shield creeps as quickly as possible. But yeah, the early pressure on these lanes, I might try one reconnect and see if that can affect.
Yeah, no problem. Not a whole lot happening at the moment. Slaughter's just getting zoned out on the off lane. His salve has already been forced. They've still got the safe lane more or less under control, so he's still got 0 experience. Mid lane at the moment, it's 2-2 for both the Batrider and the Mirana. Not a whole lot really happening. The Axe has decided to just come right over to the off lane right from the word go, and that is kind of forcing the Empire supports to be up here and not roaming around and applying any pressure, but the Terrorblade's still getting a little bit of farm, though it is going to be.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. Oh, Mu just got one of his last hits stolen by that Satyr Tormentor. That's so frustrating. But yeah, it's good to be able to see this right from the get-go. As another one of those stomps comes out, and actually, Miposhka turns it back around. Ramsey's doing a good amount of damage and might be able to kill Asakta. That is going to force blood. Oh, in the way of Miposhka, the Elder Titan finds it. And what you want to have happen in the least bit.
Yeah, that's definitely not how they want to start out this lane. I wonder if Sax is going to... He'll probably just go into the jungle for a little bit, if I had to guess. But the jungle is actually somewhat blocked from Team Empire. I think they were anticipating that he was going to just start there with an Iron Talon, and they were going to slow him down, but it looks like it's still going to be a little bit obstructive for him.
That's not exactly what you want to see necessarily, and I mean Iron Talon not up online, like you're saying, that Sentry Ward blocking it out. This does also mean that Mu is going to have a significantly harder time dealing with this offlane, but it's the right move. I mean, there's no way you're really going to be able to, does that block that out as well? Man, that is a rough life for this Axe.
Yeah, he even got unlucky in the big camp spawn. It's a Hellbear camp. Absolutely the worst camp to have to clear at level 1. They do so much damage, but I think he's just going to have to tough it out.
Dang, that really hurts. And I mean, Mu here is going to have to do a similar type of thing. And you know, you mentioned that you wanted to see them trying to get aggressive early in those lanes. The scary part is that it feels like Empire were able to handle it well enough, and maybe a little bit too much greed means that they can no longer do that, and they're sort of relegated to having to try and play it greedy in the jungle, which is also being punished with warding. So pretty good start right now for Empire. Not exactly sure how they recover the laning phase outside of just trying not to get killed.
Yeah, and that is the one kind of disadvantage as well about having this Axe as your position 4, is you don't really have a whole lot to move around and make anything happen. Like this Elder Titan, he's going to be running around, throwing out spirits, trying to get things set up. The line's kind of pinned to his safe lane somewhat.
Arrow, follow up, we in some trouble, and Scandal's going to be able to possibly find us the damage there, Fairy Fire, and he's going down. Elder Titan 2 kills at this early stage in the game, and Miposhka making things happen.
And this is exactly what they were hoping to avoid by keeping the Darkseer and the Axe on the off lane. They just wanted to keep the Elder Titan there and make sure that mid lane wasn't going to get interfered with, but they gave up the first blood, so they had to give up the off lane, and now they're going to start giving up kills elsewhere. So I think the pieces are all really starting to fall into place for Empire here.
Yeah, good stuff for them, and I mean, just good recognition that that's where they need to go to find those kills. And that's going to leave Ramses to relative free farm. I mean, it's not quite as much as what Resolution's been doing down here in the bottom lane, so this to me does also feel like the way in which DC are going to want to try and take this draft is pushing it towards the late stages. It's not like they need to find kills early, but they also can't really afford to take all this damage. This might be a kill onto Mu. He ends up going down to the Shadow Poison. 5 stacks on him. King R playing it really well.
It's such a good ability. Shadow Poison is I think very much, well, not so much undervalued these days. Most people do go for a pretty heavy Shadow Poison build, but I guess we just haven't been seeing a whole lot of Shadow Demon recently, so people don't really remember how much damage it can do.
Yeah, and also it's kind of interesting because it's this type of hero that you normally see in combination with something like a Leshrac or, you know, something like a Mirana, but actually being really effective at zoning out this Darkseer, and if you happen to just soak up 2 of those and you can't dodge the 3rd, he went for the disruption, and as soon as the 5th was on him, he was dead. There's no way out from it. So, really, really good recognition there, and King R has felt to me like he's one of those standout players. I think back to ESL1 Manila and the Rubik play that we saw from him, and just very, very talented indeed.
Yeah, and you know when somebody stands out on a position 4, position 5, I think especially position 5, that they're really doing something very well, because normally it's a role that doesn't really get noticed all that much. You know, when they're doing their job, you don't necessarily see exactly what's going on.
Well, now we're looking at 0-3 start, 6 minutes into the game, but Morphling is still farming really well, and he was able to take out that stack, so I don't think DC are completely disappointed with the start. Obviously, it's not the way they wanted it to go, but it certainly could have been worse, as Resolution is now... the whole team of DC is sort of respecting the Shadow Poison coming in from King R.
Yeah, the one interesting thing I think to talk about this game is that I don't necessarily think that DC can take it late. I think Empire's Tricore is actually a little bit stronger overall, so what they really have to do is get their 2 Blink Daggers up, get their mech up, and try and hit some kind of decent timing with the Morphling as well. It's kind of up to Resolution to decide what exactly he's going to be building this game, if he still wants to go for the Lincolns into the shotgun, kind of the standard build, or maybe he'll mix things up, but I feel like if it just drags and drags and drags, then I do really favor Empire with their draft.
Okay. Well, it's something to watch out for, certainly. It looks like right now Empire will be the ones that are a little bit aggressive. Scandal did TP here towards this bottom lane, and they also have Afterlife in the area as well. This was all scouted by the Radiant Observer Ward, so very much respecting the damage potential that they've got. And this allows Weehaw to get a little bit more room here at the start, looking for that initiation. I kind of was wondering if they might have been able to find Rezo there with the bubble, but it looks like for now at least they're just going to call off the charge, head back, and Scandal's going to go back to farming mid.
Yeah, and this is the one kind of nice thing when you're playing against a hero like a Batrider on the mid lane, is that when you leave the lane for a minute and a half, he doesn't immediately threaten your tower. You know, a hero like Invoker is going to put a lot of damage on your tower and really punish you if you rotate and don't find a kill, but Batrider's not really all that threatening, and Scandal still comes in and picks up a pretty big wave, so not even too much time lost from him.
Well, not a bad start in the least bit. It does look like, at least for now, we're going to be seeing Batrider go for the drums build. I like this. They don't have the greatest burst potential right off the bat. Misery is going to get a little bit of a Hex out on top of Afterlife. Arrow is not going to connect, but the Moonlight Shadow means they need to be a little bit more careful. But this allows him to have that little bit more presence in the lane. How do you feel about it going forward? Is it going to slow down his blink timing to the point where he has to be worried about that coming about, or do you think it's still okay?
I really like this build with a little bit more survivability, given that he's playing with the Darkseer, so he potentially has a surge to be able to get in and get where he needs to be in the fights and still get a good lasso off, and the little bit of extra survivability, I think, goes a really long way in terms of just being able to sit right in the middle of the fight, deal Firefly damage, deal Ion Shell damage, and still just live through everything. So I'm actually a really big fan of this build for this game.
Okay. Resolution now continuing to farm up this hard camp, and it's a nice little chunk of gold going his way. It looked like Elder Titan was going to steal a couple of those, but not really capable of doing it. And Stomp, no, doesn't get it, but does hit Rezo, so trades abound, but nothing really of consequence as of yet. Feels like early rotations have sort of stopped from Empire, and they're more comfortable sitting and getting those first rounds.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's just because they've rotated the Slardar off, and so now the offlane is free for the supports, and so they're not really keeping the support together. And yeah, things kind of calming down a little bit. We're pretty much dead even on experience right now, but it's still kind of both teams looking for their timing. Big time, of course, for Empire is always going to be that Blink Dagger on the Slardar, and kind of the same story for DC. I think it's more like mech on the Darkseer and the Blink Dagger on the Axe. You can grab it.
It's gonna ends up picking up the smoke, so I try and make a rotation at this level 6. Although it's hard to imagine where it is that they go for something strong. In time, he's just gonna stack up the camp and head off his merry little way. So a lot of stacking, trying to be as possible on the side of DC. Weehaw out here, drops online. could find a kill with the surge we were talking about. It's really good. And looks like they're going to be looking for there's jump 4 or 5, and they actually catch it. Looks like it's not quite going to fall. But we still looking. That's bold. It's going to have that. But mid lane, come is going to let trouble and he's going to fall. So we'll try and rotate top. Take one.
Yeah, not exactly the kill that they were looking for, but still more than happy to take that. Resolution still farming. This is kind of the story of Morphling. Just takes a little while to come online and really too much accomplished. Nobody's in a safe lane, so just gonna turn on the Ring of Aquila and pump the tower a little bit.
Okay. Well, it's a pretty even game across the board, despite the fact that it's 4 kills in the favor of Empire. You can definitely fear. Favoring DC, interestingly enough, because of his rotation not bearing a tremendous amount of fruit, as King R looks for the initiation. We pump faked it. Want to go for that disruption, but end up throwing it out. The rest of the Empire was not in position. This looks like a
Candle,
though. Is he going down? Oh my goodness.
It was super fast. It's just the immediate rotation with Misery's level 6. Gonna find that kill. Finger straight into a dunk. It's not really anything Scant could have done there.
Lane, trouble goes. Taken out, and that is that tower.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Okay, so resolution showing a TP back afterlife. Like sucks to keep that for the from rotating mid. They're gonna try and take down the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, the little bit of extra tier 1 tower gold, definitely very nice for the Axe. He tried to TP top to get a bit of farm there, but got interrupted by the stomp. He's gonna hoof it.
Well, around and have his tranquil weapon online, 1600 in the bank, so should that blinked at rather rapidly. Did also finish the hard camp, and I'm assuming he was able to get all that farm. But as we take a look at the north, I mean, it's not really anything of consequence yet. We might be in trouble again. They're gonna go arrow at fighting, and they're gonna try and go for a counter station, but they're already scandal. Is just gonna die again mid. This is really tame for him, so.
Yeah, Empire have been really on point with all of their arrow setups and just finding all this pressure. There's a ton of ward vision around mid lane. You can see all of the attention that DC are paying in the area. You know, they want to kind of keep things safe, but Empire's still finding all these opportunities. They have used quite a few of their smokes. I think there's only one. They've got one in stock and they've got one on Mipashka, so they've actually still got quite a few to work with for the next little bit. And a Midas on the Marana, okay.
Interesting. I guess that this is what you're talking about, where Empire feel comfortable going into stages against the DC. It's always for Flame going to late game. I guess it kind of mitigates just naturally as it gets. So, I don't know. I'm still curious to see how it goes. I feel like the position 4 acts, it does give you a lot of opportunities to deal with what could be thrown at them. But I guess it's just kind of the execution.
Yeah, I don't think it's, I don't think it's a sweep necessarily if it gets to the late game, but I just think Empire's lineup is much more comfortable playing in that late game scenario. Even their supports are both amazing late gamers here. You know, Shadow Demon, especially when he's working with the Terrorblade, and Elder Titan kind of goes to that saying that he's just good once he scales up, gets his levels, gets a little bit of farm, can really get to work.
Pings are coming out right now. I think that Axel had an idea of Roshan going on. Let's go over and try and test it. It's pretty take with the anti-damage and with this being so. I might have actually on a pignet, so maybe this is going to be a regardless, we're in a position where they could have defended it.
Yeah, fight damage makes it a little bit too quick. I was kind of hoping they were going to give the last hit to the star so he would get his blink immediately, but he's only 100 gold short now, so I should be able to pick that up quick smart, and yeah, just sells the stat to grab it.
The Astro is this Elder already, but maybe the Empire type of fight that they just set online. Dragon is gosh Aquila and nice little campaign on top of that. It looks like now he's going to try out that guard outward here. So if anybody should really try to go for a kill, I don't really look to be right now.
Yeah, for DC there was still kind of another mini opportunity to keep on playing aggressively, since it's very likely that the Metamorphosis had they almost 100% know that the Metamorphosis was used to be able to take the Roshan, so they can still play up a little bit here. They've got so much vision on this over on this dire side of the map, and I think they're really just setting the stage for Resolution to take full advantage of the fact that the tower's down in the safe lane, so that he can push out top lane, farm the jungle a little bit in between, and not get jumped, because he is the centerpiece of the lineup right now, so they have to make sure that he stays safe.
Interesting, and it's a as we are going to maybe see what happened to Dota, who alone for the moment. But there's always that duality that happens, where it feels like if the dire red is rolling, then they're going to be able to get on, but the Radiant kind of got that take down really Roshan's getting again, but at least for now, it's going to be a quick double potion gun. He is going to fall. Played by.
Yeah, going for the Roshan kind of set up this somewhat imbalanced situation here, where Empire haven't taken the opposing safe lane tier 1, so DC can set it up so that Resolution soaks up this entire top side of the map, steals Empire's farm kind of from the dire jungle, pushes up the top lane, keeps applying pressure, and then Mu can very comfortably sit down here and keep the tier 1 on their safe lane, which really denies Empire any access to the Radiant jungle. So I would think for the next little bit, we're actually going to see DC kind of shoot ahead in terms of the net worth, because Empire, the only place that they really have to farm right now is their big camp over by the secret shop. So they really got to get another building down and open this map up a bit more.
God, Weehaw jumped in, tried to find somebody. He'll do it, and by the way, some fingers come out from Misery is able to get the slot on mid. Gonna make that has so again, little bits and pieces here. We goes down. Actually, touching this bracket, hopefully not something, but sort of harkens back to talking about, or gives him a little bit more speed as he's trying to lane this fear, and he doesn't have to quite as worried about down death.
Yeah, the stats are just really nice. Dragonlance feels very much core on all of your ranged agi heroes at the moment. Mirana almost has her Aghanim Scepter, so her farm rate is going to start spiking a little bit as well coming up soon, but DC have managed to stabilize pretty nicely after early game being a little bit rough for them with all the ganks on mid and the offlane not really playing out the way that they were hoping for it to right from the start.
I see also that Xer is going to be going back for what I would imagine the Force Staff is. Resolution is trying to hit away onto this tower. They go crush there under Rezo. The turnaround brings back out, but the terms of disruption keep from for the focus on the weak. He is done for a long time. Turns back out. Resolution very low down. He's going to be able to escape for the moment. His back built up and down this large. We got still he with his drums built. It's ridiculous. I think that he's going to end up being able to get it in a defensive disruption away from the arrow. Oh my god, never mind, excuse me. It's a big fine. Now scale. Okay, a little bit of damage. There's the Sunder with the Earth Spike, but they're not going to. Is trying to escape the moment as they hit another Shadow Waves in. Puts the blink pool down. Arrow again, maybe? Not going to. I was wondering if he was going to end up blinking that arrow, but gets.
Yeah, then that Shadow Poison canceled his blink the first time on like the last 0.5 seconds or whatever. That was pretty crazy. Alright, so fight mid ends up being 1-for-1. They force Resolution away, but he gets forced right back to farming, which I don't think he's all that unhappy about. And Empire's age is just about to run out as well. It did end up getting them a tier 1 tower mid lane, so kind of advanced their position on the map a little bit, but it does still feel like DC are very much in control right now.
Yeah, I mean, Lion at the tower, that's going to ensure his blink dagger. Sub 3 minutes, it's not the worst in the world for who's been just awards consistently for his team, and has this axe to play very greedy and almost has his blade mail on. So across the board, DC are saying not only control but looking to remain in control the next couple of minutes in his room. That could cause some trouble here if he ends up in the jungle.
Yeah, part of this is the decision to just go for the slow build on the Mirana with the Midas into the Aghanim Scepter. It's really going to take a little while before she's super duper relevant. You know, sort of, you have your early game, you've got Starstorm, you've got Arrow, that's great. You can find pickoffs, you can do some stuff there, but really until the items start coming in, you don't really contribute a whole lot more. But Ags is on its way. Is he going to get dunked?
That's scary. And now the blink. As well. Like, why Scandal stay? Oh no, well, it's a little bit of a greedy move there. They are going to go counter initiation. That's Nar over on the other side. We jump in him. That is going to be acting out there, but very low. And now Resolute a little bit more jumping. Be able to find it. Out is him replicating away as Misery is not going to be in too much trouble here.
Oh man, and that ward fades right at the end of that as well, so you'll probably even see the Shadow Demon come back and try and deward that cliff just because of what happened to that last fight, but the ward won't even be there. That is a very unfortunate sequence of events for Empire, and now no Ags in the Marina for another 2 minutes. That really stings.
I mean, thankfully, like you're saying, he at least managed to push off at the gold stand. Really not what you want to have happen. He is still ahead. You know, we a rider who's been a bit of a time star. Not necessarily the moment. The skill's going to get jumped. Oh, and more. Actually, it gives him that extra little bit of damage that normally you wouldn't be able to see out of just a link there. When do you think he trades in? I mean, he's going to go for shotgun, but then maybe style switching out the Ring of Aquila, I guess? Or did he go Trank or travel?
He keeps the Dragonlance in his inventory for a while. He probably gives some thought to the Boots of Travel if the map starts getting opened up a little bit more, like when the safe lane tier 1 gets taken out and there's a little bit more room along the lanes to be able to push it out, and the split push really starts to ramp up from the TV and the Mirana. But I think after the shotgun, I'll probably just go into the Manta style and maybe swap out the Aquila, or maybe just run without a T for a little bit as well, since he is going to have the rank 3 replicate up before too long.
Okay, that seems like a kind of a... And just continue. This is what we're talking about. Pushing up this lane. They do have that here. We set something up. It's not an equal with 3 other heroes coming from Empire. It could be caught rather rapidly as they are. Oh god, the waveform! Oh, that would be the really bad one. The quickest reflex person are a little bit bad for him.
Yeah, I don't think Resolution has like future sight or anything like that, so but yeah, that was really unfortunate for them. They had 4 people right there ready to just blow up immediately, crush into Arrow, get the Soul Catcher down as well, but no such luck here.
It's frustrating indeed. And probably would have been, they could have found it. I felt there was maybe a moment where it would be. It looks like they are going to scout. This might be a consolation kill. Catches the side, but Ether Lens rank for the execution now. Jump on the Amphibs down as a couple more, but I think he's going to out if they end up winning round after now. He's in a lot of arrows connect onto the creeps, but they still do the dark in the end. Again, double 4 shadows and coming into effect. So good stuff.
Yeah, definitely an important pickup. Get a little bit more gold. Afterlife. Okay, so it's managed to blink away.
Oh, could be. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Oh. I have to play aggressive on the Bat Rider. That's the thing that's just going to happen regardless. But a mixture of bad luck, a little stop these, they are going to be able to come back. So a comp their finger Bethan now looking for a kill of his own and being able to down Resolution. I think that would definitely significantly worse if they were able to jump in with Scandal. Definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. A couple of trades, but with the TB and the Mirana being down, this should be pretty much every lane getting shoved in by DC over the next little bit. Moves pushing bottom. Mid lane is being forced in a little bit, so looks like at least Empire will get that for the time being. I'm not sure what they really try and do next. Again, it does seem like they've kind of set themselves up saying, alright, we're comfortable taking towards the late game with Mirana continuing to farm. And the Terrorblade's still getting pretty big. He's almost got an Eye of Gotti at this point, but DC just has so much pickoff potential now with the Batrider being pretty much fully online. We saw how much work the Axe could do just with the Blade Mail as well, so Empire have to be... I think a gem could be a really nice pickup at this stage for DC as well. Just to deny all the vision, give them all the room in the world to push out the lanes, and just make the Empire's pushers afraid of really doing anything. The vision becomes super important for that.
Now they pull on the King R, and with Mu here, might be able to find defensive decisions going to keep them fine. Hit it with the Earth by King R is going to be able to survive those charges. So a little bit of misplay. Able to get that like perfectly on time. Nonetheless, it's easier to definitely feel control here. Jump forward. Like half the crush was down, and there's the stomp did not come quickly enough from the elf, and they aren't going to be able to force tap him into arrow. And secondary force, he's getting pushed around the map here. Not what you see. Leon making it get this a bit of damage here. Can they block this? If it does through, like it's just gonna grab his and they'd be able to get that go away. The flame break back move and contain killed. So one exchange. As for now, they might be able to get that Mapoka going. Now we hop or stab away. Ramsey's still looking, but able to find him.
Alright, Empire hanging out near the pit. Need to be careful not to get clipped by that flame break.
And
I guess this is fine. Good up, yeah.
You see the zoning too. If Weehaw gets another one of these
Dire's middle tower is under
really
attack.
rapidly profitable. We need to see there. Second flame break is not gonna be able to get him. Is right there. Is going to be able to go down, although DC are still second right there.
Shaman has fallen to the Dire. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Alright, so Empire just bought themselves even more farming time. If they get a pick off, they can potentially get in toward tier 2 even. I was talking about it just before, but I would still really like to see a gem potentially as a pickup over on DC, just to restrict the map control a little bit more, because I do still feel as though they're somewhat restricted this game in terms of they can still definitely fight in the late game, but it's just so much easier for Empire. So I feel like they have to try and hit some kind of a timing right as this Aegis fades potentially, and try to get something done. But that's going to be, it's also what Empire are going to be thinking about, so they'll have to be somewhat sneaky about it if possible.
Well, they did spot out that the blade was up on the top lane, so maybe gonna try and make the up against this King Shadow Demon with Lion and Ray. There's only a possibility for pickoff, but combo absolutely perfect, and also where it's Larder back all over it. Not going in as yet, as we see Empire still just playing it very, very safe.
And it's actually Empire who opt to pick up the gem here, so Mapasha's running around with that, making sure that their jungle is locked down. This ward over on the bottom side is just about to fade, so the map's about to get a little bit dark for DC, but they're also going to make the gem play, and so I guess the map's going to go completely dark for both sides at this stage.
Nobody sees anything. Right, there's the replicate. Or they're from more of Blade. And I guess it's like Empire kind of getting itself. They might want to try and make something happen. It feels like the correct play here is just to keep on farming, but they're doing it sort of aggressively in DC's action, and Ramsey's gonna go for the backdoor on this time. This might be a big hold. They put the follow it's so full, and there's this now turning it back onto him. Oh, it really hurts. You need to see something a little different. There's more flame take to our top.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that worked last time when the Axe jumped him, because one, he was in Metamorphosis, and two, he didn't have Eye of Scotty, but now that last jump, I don't know what Saxo was hoping for there. I guess maybe thinking that the wall illusion was going to do a little bit more damage back to the DB, but alright, ends up being an easy kill, an easy tier 1. They've still got the Aegis in hand. Looks like Resolution's going to go and threaten top. He's got Misery in tow, just in case one lone hero TP's back. They can kill pretty much anybody with the Ethereal Blade and Finger of Death. So Empire going to have to be careful about who they send back to defend here.
Yeah, they need to bring somebody back. I mean, for now, sending out that Elder Titan who did just get Thunder to make sure that he wasn't going to be able to bring down terribly. A little bit of an odd situation, as is going to just be able to hit a sour. Feel the big keys of need to get out of there before King R came out. Resolution. Okay, he's there. He's just going to go down. What was that? He's just sitting still for a second, let his leggings pop, and just got down. What is Ramsey's jump? Suddenly Empire, which don't back from the these towers rapidly. This also doesn't have back. They actually was in a barrier.
This just got ugly really quickly. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with Resolution. It looked like he still had a replicate up. I think he was expecting that he might just be able to get some spells used on him and then replicate out, but that the effective stun at the start of the stomp from the Elder Titan, Wimpashka really timing that nicely with the disruption, and then Resolution's illusion just blew him up.
Back rush onto Weebot, so much damage. They are going to be able to catch on skin, still alive for the his time brought down. Flame back up in 18 seconds as well as second left. That terrible defensive option creating these illusions, and they're hopefully going to be able to get this tier 3 power, but it's already gone so good hold, but a little bit questionable they had to make it in the first place.
Yeah, and I think if not for that godly Earth Spike from Misery, then they probably end up losing 1 or 2 heroes and the lane of Rax on top of that there, so alright. Holding on for now, but really stabilized. I guess the Aegis is just about to fade, so that's good news for DC, but I do feel like they still need to go and try and find something now, find a pick off, try and make some progress on the tier 2 mid or the tier 2 bottom, and it's just about whether anyone on Empire is poking their head out just a little bit too far to get caught by this upcoming DC smoke.
Well, that's gonna be the plan. See if Empire are gonna be able to dodge it. We snap. They're still in a, like you're saying, I mean, what's crazy about it is how much was dealt that Morphling with just the Elder excuse me, for being and getting them in the natural order. It really naive paper, and
yeah.
That's the thing to about this. I don't know if he's gonna still translate to that late game hero used to sort of piercing.
Yeah, and he just got completely obliterated by his own illusions. I mean, 75% from the disruption illusions is absolutely no joke, and Empire gonna make the aggressive play here, Moonlight Shadow.
Oh my god. Just on minutes, go down, 3 people. Who goes Jasper? Wasn't able to get off the wall now. He's gonna get pulled and he'll jump on the pushing going down. Misery can only look on dismay as the rest of the team just got destroyed. And now the bots coming. Empire are just scared. Only back.
That was such a nice play from Empire because it was just a little bit unexpected. DC are looking at their position and looking at the lanes and thinking like, surely Empire are gonna have to go and deal with the lanes or something. We're somewhat safe here, and then Empire just charge in, blow them up, and switch right over to mid lane. And yeah, easy lane of Rax.
They could be in a.
There's still 2-2s. There's still 2-2s in both of the other lanes.
They're going for 2-4s at least tentative.
Yeah.
They might just actually go with it. They're gonna go for 3 people kill the. I think that they're just gonna try and end the game. This might be too bold. 5 from the now. Oh my. What? Okay, I think they need to get out of here now. A little bit too bold going right for the top for that. 4 out another buyback from DC. And I mean, taking a look at the network graph, look at that plummet.
Oh my god.
Of the past like 6 minutes.
Much of
that. Oh my god. Misery is going down. They lose another one. Oh my god, they almost have to disrupt onto that start here. Not anything weak goes down on the other side. 2 already dead. Now, I think they're going to be able to kill off this act again. It like falls on the edge of a cliff. They keep putting it in their chest. Ends up getting away. The fate time on invisibility, and now trouble. Good for that from trying to get this really elastic. You still get the disruption, and somehow they're continuing the fate.
Radiant's middle tower is under
I don't have any. Oh, they are gonna back up now. Don't want to try and force it again. I think at this point they just realize that they are like very much ahead, very comfortably in the lead right now. They're winning team fights extremely easily with the AoE control from the Slardar, and the Elder Titan. They've got a Hex as well now on the Mirana. Oh man!
I'm just looking at this graphic, updated on it, and over the space of what is probably 4 minutes, it's been a 12,000 net worth swing, right around 10,000 experience. Ridiculous. A flurry of damage, like you're saying, items are up and online. 4,000 does trying to figure out what the heck he wants to try.
Oh man, he's got a lot of options. I feel like I would maybe just get a left or something. Okay, so just get a medallion. Same kind of story, just make the blade do more. The medallion's also, Bullet Crest also really nice for combo with your Earthsplitter. They got another H on the TP. DC's kind of scrambling just to get creeps outside of the base right now, and before when we looked at the graph on that first swing and it was like 4k to 4k, I was like, oh, you know, it's not that much of a net worth lead for 35 minutes into the game, and now we look again and all of a sudden it's 15k. It's like, okay, that's a much more significant lead this stage. I'm not sure what DC has. They have to get the jump. Fights the ones being initiated on, so that's really what they're probably telling themselves here. We just have to find the initiation. But it looks like Ramsey's just gonna face tank this since he has the aegis.
Ooh, not afraid. That's feeling it here. Confident, just exuding from Empire lineup. That's great position there, and past the point where the Midases are no longer going to be kicking him, and really going to continue to accelerate them. They have to win here. They need to fight desperately, but they can send all these. That's going to be a tier 2 tower again.
Yeah, this tier 2 is so impossible to defend as the Radiant team. Even with map changes, opening up the ramp a little bit and giving you more high ground to work with, it's still just so hard to come in and defend. So DC just gonna have to give that one up. We've got a Lotorb now on the Slardar as well, and I think for Empire, probably just gonna split the lanes a little bit and then wait for another metamorphosis really, and then bottom lane. Could go for the tier 2 top if there would be total.
I do think that there's still, I mean, there's ways into the DC, and this is probably what you have to do. The more flame means that it's not going to think you're smoking up the floor and try to find a jump like saying, and if it started off with a good land hack, this is the way to make it work. They are reading outside, and this is going to be, if you jump in and are bring him down, this is the way to it right now, DC. I don't know if is the status quo. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, they know that they have to stall at this age as much as they can, and try and get rid of it without having to fight fire 5-on-5. So, getting this pick, they're also going to be able to get out mid lane a little bit and shove in top lane somewhat. But Ramsey's going to remind them that he's still #1 net worth. He's still big. He's still pretty scary, and he's going to force somebody back to defend here. But nobody put DC in position just yet.
I think they are.
Back to protection still on.
Well, that's some small solace leaks. And you know, it is worth noting, we still do have a small flame that's almost on equitable with Terrorblade. Top lane pushed out, it's already brought down the tier 3 tower fairly low, so there's avenues for DC to get back in. It's just, oh my god, the Shadow Demon. And that's what I'm looking at. Being said, Morphling is now alone. And jump by Ramsey's he's fourth away, still for the moment. Turns around. It was a destructive strike. I think with that back.
Scandal sticking out a little bit. Okay, just to Midas. Gotta get the efficient.
Oh, after catches the axe, just brought down. They do so much damage here, and they're not going to connect onto Misery. They need for the flag. Get out of there. It does like this is going to be able to escape. Maybe in a little bit of trouble. Fourth step.
All the bad.
All right, he goes over for the go. Coming. Goes in. Go. Connect. This he's still alone. And throwing X on the afterlife. Pick away. Tries. Yeah. Escape. Spit it a little. The pieces are working, but to make something of this and hold high ground.
I don't think that's bad. They beat up a ton of the metal resistance curation. It's just about to run out here for Ramses.
They are going to be able to bimp down. Quick what H is one. They were able to cut off Misery getting onto him. Just try they were getting down the KB now. Push back into and he pops down KB. There's the first flip. Nobody yet. They still do that they want to go for it after left. Controlled for the moment. Eric's going to get thrown again. Nobody is caught. Back trying to pull him. Nice disruption there. So I feel like they're still going. Sun now we start to go down. Team wall. Is it going to be enough to spike follow? The hero. The warning. The Misery is deflected. Trying to turn back. Gets one done on this. I'm looking for a little bit. Chase out of base. Resolution. And just too much on his armor with that natural order. Now have to push back on the point. Can they find Ramsey though? He's just too big.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, I feel like they've already done like 3,000 or 4,000 damage to him this fight. It just keeps sundering up.
Jumps. Maybe get people to break down Ramses. They need to sunder.
Radiant's bottom barracks
But
are
I
under
think that
attack.
he's gonna be fine. He's looking for some.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
On a resolution and both their back and as this damages.
Yeah, that's 2 lanes of Rax now, and they have a TB Shadow Demon. So as much as DC are, they're not awful at clearing waves and keeping illusions off their buildings, but it feels like at this stage, if Empire just play it, even if they just want to play it super safe, they can probably chip their way out for the rest of this game. I think DC, maybe there's still some avenue if they find a really nice smoke or get some slightly unexpected pickoff, but it gets even riskier because now you can kind of only send 3 heroes at a time, and you sort of have to be showing 2 to get the other lanes pushed out. Of course, they've got resolution to always keep a replicate with them, so they get some extra kill potential there, and they've got the axe replicate as well, which is helping to push out lanes right now. But yeah, this is tough.
That's okay. I think at the point they take down the 3 tower. They can keep those lanes put out. Maybe the app is to try and like or slowly over boots a trap. That's also the fun of the fight to a large extent. Yes, Empire not being able to start to pick off.
Dire's middle
Very
tower
capable
is
of doing
under
it.
attack.
So, game is hard for DC fans out there all over the world.
Yeah, Ramses has 2 Scotties.
Oh my god. I mean, he's got 2 eyes. So,
People always make the gem joke. I think the Scotty joke just as appropriate. We finally see a little bit of armor on the Morphling. Picks up an AC here to help try and deal with the natural order, but he's still losing 40 armor whenever he gets hit by that. So still does become very squishy very quickly. And we're just seeing that Empire's Tricore is just kind of. The Slardar is a very relevant late game hero. 8-second cooldown crush is always great. Amplify damage is amazing. The Mirana's really coming to her own now as well. Gonna Moonlight Shadow, hope for a pickoff, and see if they can maybe end the game in one fell swoop. DC aren't even home right now. They're gonna go onto the high ground pretty quickly here.
I mean, if it's you, then just go.
Saxa has no TP. He's got to run.
God.
Like it.
They're gonna have to defend on high ground, or defend the opponent's high.
Radiant's
DC,
middle tower
okay,
is under
it's being
attack.
back now.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Actually, the agent. What are you doing? It's a pretty important. They end up being able to Airblade a lot back and walk onto them as well, but looks like Empire maybe step Revolution is still going to be able to deal with them. They're killing off the agent. They're in the mid Fight losing, and they are going to lose the game. Empire take. They did to fight.
Empire played this game so nicely. They weren't that afraid of the Darkseer axe at the start. They knew that, look, they're just 2 level 1 heroes. We can kill them right from the start. Then Mapashka ran around, killed mid a couple of times. He soaked a bunch of level off lane. I think they played this really, really nicely. A couple of missteps here and there from DC as well that gave Empire some really crucial opportunities, like that one random kill that we saw in Resolution over in the Dire safe lane right outside the tier 3 that really kind of paved the way for them to move forward. But I think, yeah, it looked really comfortable for Empire, I have to say.
And we'll see in just a while how it ends. But it does kind of feel like the draft from Empire just had the answers for the questions we're going to